male driver, and I believe he might have...
Wow.
The volume.
To 50 months.
The volume. Don't know.
Don't
know.
Love your
Don't know.
xQcL27.
Don't know.
Participant in this pursuit. So still working to confirm again what the other wants are on this one, but at least for now, vehicle code violation. We've got the San Bernardino Sheriff's helicopter overhead, and we've just been joined by another airship here from a neighboring county as well. I believe it's going to be the Riverside airship that is assisting with the pursuit now as well. But continuing to make its way here on the 215 freeway, coming up to Central Avenue.
I love you. Please give me another chance and let me see my kids. Love you.
Is it chat?
There are some ground units, Michael, but I'm kind of afraid to zoom out because they're pretty far back. This guy has been in and out of traffic, so they're really not on his tail right now. I'd say they're at least a quarter mile back. So when
he's got the old school.
More of them, but the car was way up ahead. But because he was driving as recklessly as he is right now, he was easy to spot. But again, what looks like an older model Jaguar, tinted windows, but when he did have that window down, I could see the driver.
If the police did their job, they would have cited him multiple times for tinted windows, and they wouldn't need to chase him. They would know where he lives. They would know his address, his everything, social security. They would know anything about this guy if they just did their job right. You see tinted windows, you arrest him. Hey, pull the mother suckers over.
Go ahead,
tinted is illegal.
Unknown if he's armed, but so the reason I was kind of hesitant on saying what the other person's relationship is in this is because we were working on confirming if the person is actually a kidnapping victim.
What?
But that is what we're hearing at this point, is that the passenger in all of this is not in the car because they want to be.
Remember chat, this guy said Drake made the weekend on Kick last night. But xQc doesn't know that Abel declined Drake's offer to be signed under him. He also wrote half of Drake's album. Take care for him.
Okay.
Yay Buster, do your research next.
Okay. No. I did my research, okay? Is that because you declined somebody's offer that you weren't made, okay? If you're small and somebody makes you, okay, into where you're at and say, yo, dude, now sign for me, and you say no, it doesn't mean that you weren't made, you fucking loser. It's like if fucking music streamer that has 100 viewers and collab with him like 100 times and says, yo, be on OTK, and the guy says no, he still made him, you fucking dumbass. Do your research, dude. I love the weekend. Like, Jesus Christ, I'm hopping on a fucking stick, bitch.
Unknown what their relationship is, if this is some sort of domestic issue or if this is a father and child, that is unknown to us at this time. Just very preliminary information, but again, it started as a vehicle code violation, apparently, that somehow came to light that it was also a situation where...
Chad, give me Krista. Chad, give me Krista.
Kidnapping victim in all of this.
Chat, my shirt is flimsy. I don't like it. I'm changing shirts.
It is a little bit easier for me to follow on this stretch, and now that we're in a little less traffic, and those units are behind him now. I see at least 3 marked units here behind this vehicle, continuing to make its way southbound on the 215 freeway here, coming through Riverside, where we're coming up to March Air Force Base. So I see that out the left side of the helicopter here. This stretch of the freeway is wide open for now, but I am seeing that as you approach March Air Force Base, the traffic really does slow down significantly. So let's see what this person does. We know he's not afraid to use the emergency lane if he has to get back to get by some of that slower moving traffic. But for now, he's smooth sailing, but that traffic is coming up here very soon.
Bang!
Yeah, really dark tint. I can kind of see out the front, but we haven't really had a chance to look through that front windshield. But again, what we were hearing is that there are at least 2 occupants in the car. And look at him driving here now in the emergency lane. This is exactly what I was worried about because of that slower moving traffic. Maybe he'll exit. That is possibility. He's not afraid to drive on surface streets. He was on surface streets for most of this pursuit so far. Before jumping on this 250.
Chat, is Chris live now or not?
But for now is using that emergency lane to get by. I never like it when they do that because I just think about somebody with a flat tire, somebody whose car has been disabled. That's where you would be, and then you have this guy coming at you at freeway speeds. Can they stop in time? Hopefully, but you never know. For now, continuing right by the 215 south at Van Buren.
Is that a baby shower? Oh, that's fucking loser shit. That's not what Chris would do. I'm not gonna lie. That's out of character.
Yeah, at this point, it's unknown to me if they've been able to get any information back on this person. As far as we know, the car.
Chad, this is an old school Jaguar. I'm saying
it's got the proper
2012.
Then they'll be able to run the plates, get the registration.
2010 probably.
Kind of figure out who may be driving. I am hearing it on the scanner right
now.
The
6 really.
HP talking about it. They did say this started off as a vehicle code violation, so exactly what we were thinking. And then somehow it came to light that there's also a possible victim in all of this, a possible kidnapping victim. What the relationship is, what the age and gender of that victim is unknown to us. But from what I could tell, when we could see the driver, he does look like an adult male, wearing a bright blue shirt that is now driving.
Yeah, that's 06 for real.
To get past some slower moving traffic on the southbound 215 freeway right by the base.
Chat, thoughts? If you guys away with it or not?
One thing they're always considering is safety. So the safety of the general public,
Hamlin,
the safety of the people inside of the vehicle, the safety of the officers. So if this gets to a point where it's no longer safe for them to continue to chase this guy, then what they can do is just pull the units off and have the airships follow only, and in hopes that perhaps the driver will think he's no longer in a pursuit and will simply pull over, pull into a parking structure, go home, just get him off the road where he
I know what this license plate is.
Everyone on this roadway driving again. This isn't the proper lane. I know it looks like it, but it's not. It's the center divider. If you were broken down, this is probably where you'd be. And he's driving at over freeway speeds, about 80 miles an hour here, southbound on the 215 freeway, coming up to almost Lake Matthews. So we are a long ways from our home base at Whiteman Airport, and this pursuit has been going on now for, from what we know, at least 1 hour.
Chat. Holy, those who know.
Yeah, it was San Bernardino. It was very
Hamlin
close to the interchange
was my favorite character.
And the
I said it.
Freeways. He was on surface streets in that area for quite some time.
My favorite character.
At least 30 to 40 minutes. Just kind of circling, going in the neighborhood in circles is really the best way to describe it. So that leads me to believe that it's likely an area that he's familiar with, but then at some point he decided he was going to try the freeway route. So he did jump on the freeways, and that's essentially where we picked him up when we got overhead, was right when he had gotten on the freeway. So he was southbound 215 at the time. There was 2 airships overhead at the time. San Bernardino as well as Riverside, and again, if this gets to be so dangerous to the point where they can't follow with units anymore, then it's going to be up to those helicopters to continue to follow this guy until they see this come to an end. But for now, freeway speeds here.
I like Kim, but Paris. I feel like she has like smoke aging fingers.
What the fuck is
and you can kind of smell the cigarette through her fingers. Hey.
Hold up this
That is
statue.
something that they
Hey.
that they're starting to talk about, and I'm going to push in on the lead unit here. So
That's
you
all
can
I'm
see
saying.
it's actually a police
42
unit.
months.
I think it's
If
San
you
Bernardino
know, you know, though.
They were the
Flip
original
you,
Chat,
agency.
chat. I've
But,
dated smokers, okay?
CHP
I have.
is being
Okay.
advised. That's who I'm hearing here on the
xQcOW.
on their frequency.
Not for long,
So they're talking
but
about it. And
I
as you
know
were saying, because this
smoke
is
fingers
on the
when I
freeway,
see them.
it
I
would
know
be
it.
best suited for the California
If you've
Highway
dated
Patrol to take
smokers,
over the
you can-
chase. They
you
are
can
the police of our
identify
freeways here in California.
smoke fingers
they're
from a
just
mile
gonna be
away.
able to handle this a little bit better than police units that are outside of the jurisdiction, because eventually those radios for those police units are going to start getting scratchy. They're going to stop working.
Smokers,
They've been on
chat,
this
have
for
like
quite some time.
accelerated
They start running out of
aging
fuel. But
on
if you have
fingers
these, fresh
and around the
units
mouth,
that can pretty
right?
much take over at
A
any
lot
point.
more than on other parts of their body.
With each other as
Literally.
we make our way
Real shit.
down whatever
If you
freeway,
know, you
They
know.
really will be the best suited to follow this police pursuit. For now,
Their fingers are
this
kind of
is
like
the,
dry
this
and
is
kind
the
of
San Bernardino
wrinkly
police here.
and kind of like
Southbound on the 250 freeway, coming up to the
just
Ramona
a bit more
Expressway
flimsy
here in
looking
Paris.
compared to the rest of their body. Hey, what do you mean me? What do you mean? What do you mean me? Chat, what do you mean?
The options are
You.
spike strips, so that's one thing we haven't talked about. So they could deploy some spike strips. They would just have to figure out what way is this guy going, what lane is he going to be in. Right now, he's actually kind of predictable because he is on the southbound 215. He's been on it for quite some time, so it might be a situation where CHP could get up ahead and lay down some spike strips. They do have their favorite locations where they like to do this along the freeway. We won't mention that at this point because just
Chat,
in case the
guys,
police
guys,
are
guys,
on
guys,
broadcast,
we've
we wouldn't
seen
wanna give
those
that away.
chases a lot.
It is a situation
I
where,
feel like this
perhaps
guy
they'll be able to lay
is
some spike
different.
strips
That's why
up ahead
I'm
and
watching
get
this.
those,
I don't care.
those tires
There's
to,
something
start
different about this
deflating.
chase.
Usually it
Isn't
doesn't
like this
stop the car
guy
immediately,
is like-
but eventually
like
those tires do
cold-blooded
get flat,
almost.
sometimes they just fall
Like he
off,
knows
and,
what he's
that can
doing.
bring things to an end.
He's
In
not
terms
going
of pit, they
fast, he's
probably
not going
won't buy it
slow.
because of the possibility
Like,
that there could be a
he's up to no
victim.
good. I think he's going for it. Chat, this doesn't seem like the type of guy who's gonna stop and pull over and end it. Like the chase. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, so you saw those units that were kind of staging there off to the side. So some of those units can actually swap out with police units that have already been on this for over an hour. So things like, you know, getting low on fuel, for example, are situations why they would, swap places. And another thing that
Chat, this looks like AI.
as you were just asking, is the traffic. I'm looking up ahead as far as I can see, and at this point, I don't see anything in the way of traffic for quite some time. I really, I want to say, all the way to Temecula. So it looks like where we get to the 15 merge with the 215 there in Murrieta, then it becomes the 15. The 215 actually comes to an end. And then once we're past that point, I do see a little bit of slowdown headed north, but not headed south. So if this guy just stays south, then he's not going to really encounter any traffic until he gets all the way to the Mexican border. So hopefully we're not going that far, but he does have a completely open freeway.
I just thought about the perfect crime. A fleet of criminals, right? All of them are the same car, right? Escaping from the crime scene. Cops chase. They all split up. They follow the ones that are look to be the main culprit or whatever. It's all AI controlled car except for one of them. All tinted windows. They don't know who to chase. Boom. Guys, he's out.
A phone call to 911. That could be how it is that they know that this person potentially has a victim inside. But at this point, that part is still unclear. It's also unclear what the relationship may be.
And he has a button. If they chase the right one,
where they pick the person up from the street,
recombine. They all come back. Boom, back to main.
So that part
Do it again.
is still unclear to me at this time. But I continue to hear the chase on CHP. I can only assume that they're going to take over at some point. Perhaps we'll be able to get a little bit more information once I can hear it on their frequency. The chase, though, continues southbound on the 215 freeway. Now,
that's what the new Fast and Furious is going to be.
Again, the 215
Fast and Furious AI.
Very soon when we get to Murrieta, it becomes the 15. And then from there, smooth sailing as far as we can see all the way down to the Mexican border.
Oh, chat. Holy shit.
Sniffer.
Chat, I don't think we've ever seen that ever.
I don't know if you saw that when I widened out the shot really wide. It's kind of hard to see.
Wait,
but I'm seeing at least
eight following cars on the highway.
Law enforcement now behind this vehicle.
11.
So that really tells you something. This is clearly someone that did more than just a vehicle code violation, which is literally a minor infraction. Most of the time they would just let somebody go for something like that. So as far as we can tell, this is somebody who they clearly want to take into custody. Again, possible kidnapping suspect is what we're hearing, and the victim may still be in the car from just the very preliminary information that we're getting on this one. But again, they're going to continue to follow this guy. They can try some spike strips. They're not going to try...
Chat, we got comments with Delay. Is Delay in chat? Give me comments, please.
Is inside. So the car may actually run out of gas at some point, too. So that's another option that law enforcement has. And when it does, then you'll have what looks to be about at least half a dozen officers.
Let's keep it a bucket.
At the ready.
At those speeds on the highway,
custody, and if the victim is still inside,
gas is going to last forever.
Safety. Still unknown, Colleen, but that really changes things.
My car with two lines of gas out of 10, like 20%, does like 140 miles, something like that.
Pit maneuver, we didn't really think they were going to try one anyway because of the victim being inside. But usually when a suspect is armed, they won't do it either, because if they were to pit the car and then it ends up nose to nose with a patrol unit, that could endanger the life of that officer. So they wouldn't try it in that situation either. So at this point, it's unknown to us if the person is armed.
It's not a real hybrid, it's a fake hybrid.
Lead you to question, well, how did they get that?
Guys, the SF90 is a fake hybrid, it's not a real one.
Again, at this point, all options are on the table.
Why do I still sub to this buster?
The battery is like this big. It's literally this big. Like, it has like 8 miles of range at most.
10 years holy.
Yeah, oftentimes that's what they'll do. They'll get in touch with their families. I know mothers often will be the first ones to call in these types of situations, and they try to convince their child, their son or daughter, to give up.
Mathilde, the always running. This guy, potential kidnapping, actually.
To hear the voice of a family member one more time.
And the cops are not letting go.
Surrender. So we see that time and time again. So that is a possibility. Of course, nowadays everybody.
That's why I'm still watching, because this guy looks pretty dedicated.
To get in touch with this person, and if law enforcement knows who they're dealing with, then a 911 dispatcher can actually
even though they might spike, I don't think they'll want to use stuff that can endanger the whole cabin because of a possibly innocent in the car.
Estamos viendo, pero no podemos observar
on the phone.
Oh my God! What just happened?
If that person is willing to talk to law enforcement over the phone. Of course, these units are also equipped with loudspeakers. They can make announcements. We've got the helicopters overhead that can also make announcements when the vehicle comes to a stop.
Ileana,
go ahead, Colleen.
I don't mean to interrupt, but what were those two cars on the shoulder of the road there? Were those officers in unmarked cars, or were those people just broken down?
I actually didn't get a good look at them, Colleen, but we did notice earlier that there were patrol units
Colleen,
on the side
shut
of
up!
the freeway, ready to jump in the pursuit. But I think some people are just pulling over. I just saw that one truck, that silver truck, pull over. So that's exactly what you want to do, actually, in these types of situations. If you see a police pursuit coming your way, the best thing you can do is to, when it's safe to do so, move over to the right, let the pursuit go by, and then join the freeway yet again. It is safe. A lot of times.
Good comment in the chat. Good comment. Actually true. A lot of the kidnappings that we see on some of these chases is custody battle, custody disagreement between two parents, whatever, and it becomes a de facto kidnapping because he's not turning over the child to the other parent. Very common.
Again,
very common.
Southbound, this car we have been tracking for well over 15-20 minutes at this point. We see a number of units behind, and Colleen, as you mentioned, and I'll mention it again, the tactics of these officers, at least the proximity, seems to be a lot closer than it was before.
xQcOW
again,
juice.
Makes you wonder, as Eliana mentioned, this more than just a a code violation on the vehicle. There's perhaps something more serious going on here, with preliminary reports that there might be a kidnapping victim in the car with the suspect.
All right, as we continue to watch this, as you point out, Michael, the 215 coming up on Menifee, then we go through Temecula. The traffic is really thinned out here. And I really want to ask Ileana, when we get an opportunity to, about the spike strips. Obviously, at this speed, with someone in the car, we wouldn't necessarily see a pit maneuver. But we have with us someone on the phone right now. Bill, are you with us?
I'm here, Colleen.
All right. Can you give me your last name? You are a retired CHP officer?
Retired Sergeant Bill Preciado here, Colleen.
Oh, okay. Know the name? Thank you for joining us. So talk to us about what happens with spike strips. How do you
have
do
any
this
tech
on a freeway
crossbody
when you've got
Hold
other
on.
traffic?
Well, I think Ilana referred to that earlier, is sometimes a lot of areas have their strategic locations where they want to deploy the spike strips. On the freeway, it would be optimal because it's one direction, but it's got to be specific, and the safety for the officers, there has to be surrounding cover because that spike strip does deploy across 1.5 lanes, and they have to just time it accordingly and coordinate with the units. As of right now, I believe San Bernardino PD is still the leading units here. I don't see CHP getting involved, although I've seen them on the shoulder, but that is the normal protocol. They will call for CHP assistance. Once CHP takes over, they can more easily coordinate when a spike strip, if they decide to use that, to be deployed.
Wouldn't a spike strip automatically be deployed whether they were the lead or not, just in assisting and aiding with the chase?
You would think so, but coordinate the communication, like Ileana alluded to earlier. Sometimes the municipalities, their radio frequencies do not transmit as easily once they get outside of their jurisdiction, and thus makes it harder for the communication to take place between either the allied agencies or their own dispatch center. So it's optimal that the agency would hand it over to the CHP so that they can coordinate more efficiently with the ground units that are
They need to have a cross-jurisdiction Discord chase.
And you see the units behind, you know, you've got air units, you see you've got wide open freeway. What's the best course of action?
Well, right now we got a couple of things working in law enforcement's favor. It's very, very light traffic. They're heading southbound. It hopefully continues in this manner until the individual. At this point, we're relying on what the individual is going to do. Right now, they're staying in one lane. The speeds are between 75 to 80 miles an hour, and they're not going in and out of traffic, which is good for both the officers and the fleeing suspect, and reduces the safety factor for the motoring public around them. So right now, it's a wait and see what they're going to do. Of course, coordinating with ground units and the air unit to see if he does get off the freeway, to coordinate in the event that the person does take foot bail.
Yeah, but Chad, he's not talking about the fact that
preliminary
it's
reports
not just a bad guy in the vehicle. There's an innocent
possibly
though.
Might be a kidnapping victim inside. How does that change an officer's tactics on how this is handled?
Bill, good question, Bill. Good question, Bill.
That definitely changes the whole dynamic because of the apparent victim that may be within the vehicle. So you're not only, as a law enforcement agency, you're thinking about the motoring public, but you're thinking about the victim inside. And more than likely, I think you mentioned throughout the broadcast that it's possibly someone that they know, maybe a domestic violence issue. We don't know quite yet at this point. But that's one of the things that the responding units are obviously keeping at the forethought while they're making the decisions. And there's always going to be a sergeant making the calls, whether to continue or back off or coordinate the ground units with allied agencies or their own units to coordinate in the event of a standoff or an eventual foot pursuit.
Bill, you're looking, he's in Murrieta right now. As you pointed out, he's not really going much faster than the speed of traffic.
Well, he doesn't have to.
Anywhere from 65 to 75. You've got Temecula coming up, then San Diego County. What happens then?
Well, the benefit with the CHP is that we've got divisions. Actually, CHP's got divisions throughout the state. There's 8 divisions. So this would be their border division, which goes all the way to the Mexican border. So they are coordinated. At some point, if it gets to that point, and we've seen this in the past where it gets close to the Mexican border, they do coordinate with the Mexican officials if, in fact, it gets to that point. And they would assist in that way, but the units would not cross into or across the border if it gets to that point. They would coordinate just with the units on the other side of the border. But right now, I would say At some point, they're going to have to turn it over to the CHP if this is still San Bernardino PD in the pursuit at some point.
Okay, hold on.
Just for
now, hear me out.
issues and radio
the guy didn't see the police behind.
I was just going to ask you that.
He didn't know that the custody wasn't his, and he's self-deporting at the same time. And it's all a misunderstanding.
The initiating agency, and as we know,
Plausible.
this has been going over an hour and initiated in the San Bernardino area, so they've got the call on the particular incident. Why it hasn't been done up to this
Finally,
point.
daylight with the comes. Jesus Christ, but how long was that?
San Bernardino County line. So at some point, the sergeant or the agency is going to have to make the call.
That's the heli.
In this case, the CHP would assist, and of course, obviously, they would turn over the body to the initiating agency just for uniformity and filing purposes for the court jurisdictions and so forth.
Bill, as we look at the tight shot from News Chopper 4 here, I can't help but notice we're passing through some residential areas. Would it be normal for police in that jurisdiction or any kind of law enforcement to stop traffic from getting on the freeways there?
Chad, this guy is full
yes.
send.
All the allied agencies have been notified. CHP does notify all municipalities as the pursuits are going into it for this very same reason.
But it's going
so
to Tijuana.
Either holding the traffic getting onto the freeway southbound, or just to be ready in the event that they do exit.
Nah, I know the people of Tijuana. They're not going to let him in.
Bill, talk about
they're not going to let him in. Sorry.
The benefits at this point. CHP, San Bernardino Police, they have what on their side at least right now with this driver?
Well, the first and foremost thing is that traffic is
only
very light.
The CHP have access.
You would say actually normal freeway speeds, right? 70 to 80 miles an hour, what we're seeing out there. He's not erratic. The driver's not driving erratically, using all lanes, or at some point they were using the emergency lane where traffic was a little more congested. And that is
the comments suck, but I'll play them anyway.
But in this case, it's pretty wide.
We're going to get to hit some ads first, though. Hold on.
The wait and see tactic is probably going to be the most beneficial for the responding agency. And at this point, one of two things: either a spike strip up ahead, where it's pre-coordinated, or where the individual eventually does. And we've seen this case in other pursuits where they run out of gas and start slowing down. So that may be one of the things that may happen in this case.
Let's talk about that running out of gas, because he's been driving for quite a while. We believe the make and model on this is an older model Jaguar. How long could something like this go without having
Chad GPT?
That's one of the things that we all take into consideration as well. But as we know, these vehicles can go quite a distance. We don't know where this individual started, whether it was a full tank or half a tank or quarter tank left. But the officers do maintain visual contact with these vehicles. Sometimes they'll see smoke coming out of the vehicles because these vehicles aren't used to driving at such a high rate of speed at continuous, in this case, over an hour, whereas the patrol vehicles are maintained regularly, and they're outfitted so that they can endure high-speed chases for extended periods of time. So in this case, it's just a visual observation of the primary unit, which is the first one.
What
the
model is that?
one's usually going to be calling out the location. The first one's job is just to maintain visual contact and maintain close proximity without endangering any other civilian lives around that vehicle.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he just made the transition from the 215 now to the 15 freeway. Again, it was a two-lane road to get to that to the 15. But again, tactics remain the same. What you're seeing here with San Bernardino Police in terms of distance from the driver seems adequate at this point, based on the circumstances?
Yes, definitely.
Jesus.
That's within a safe distance. Each agency has their
6
policies
hours.
and procedures. In this case, if those are all San Bernardino PD officers.
Chad, that's if there's no change in speed, deceleration, acceleration, all that, which is
protocol for most
wrong.
agencies
That's
to continue pursuing
if you're going at a perfect 80 the whole time, which isn't very accurate.
Which I believe there still may be either
probably
CHP
3
or
hours,
the local sheriff department may be assisting with an air operation.
Bill, we understand the driver is a male, and he may have a passenger. I'm not sure how we've come by that information, but we're trying to confirm there may be a passenger who's in the
he might be
car
running
held against
Hassan's
their will.
Biden 89
How does that change the
type
nature
fuel
of what you
87.
do in a chase like this?
Well, in a lot of instances, the tactics that they can use, such as a pit maneuver, is probably not going to be an option at this point because of the innocent person or quote-unquote innocent person that's in there.
OC85E. What is that?
So that limits one of the tools that the pursuing agency can possibly use. And then some agencies don't teach pit maneuvers, so that's another option as well. I don't know if San Bernardino is open to using a pit maneuver. I know the CHP does, and we've seen it in past pursuits. So that's at the forefront of the safety of the individual. And of course, this is all second information coming from, it went to the dispatch center and it gets out to the responding unit that it could be a possible kidnapping since there's 2 people in there. So those officers are going to have to take that into consideration, even in the event that it comes to a standoff situation where they're stopped, eventually run out of gas, or they decide to stop. They're going to take the individuals out one at a time until it is completely clarified. They will probably put those people in handcuffs until it's determined completely what exactly was going on.
All right, retired Sergeant Bill Preciado, thanks so much for your expertise on this. As we mentioned, he's in Temecula right now. We're going to keep an eye on this situation, bring you more as we get it.
All right, living in LA County is about to get more expensive.
Los policías o de las autoridades locales del condado de San Diego una vez que ya estén allí en esa área. Estamos viendo que baja un poco la velocidad, va a 57 millas por hora. Hace algunos instantes veíamos cómo iba a 117 millas por hora.
They've been going for 57 miles.
Con esta persecución policial y
they will try to stop him immediately on the highway. And the police is trying very hard to get this person who seems to be a suspect of a kidnapping. And here's some crackheads buying a live drug deal in this neighborhood trailer park. And it's over. I can't fucking believe it. I actually can't believe it. Back at it again. Back at it again. Sí, el policía en...
And for those of you watching us online, we of course thank you for your viewership. I hate to have to leave it like this without us knowing the final termination here, but we're going to continue.
Well, the joke was that I was reverse translating,
and make calls to our friends down in
because it swapped
San Diego.
to English.
The pursuit is headed their way. We're just at the 15 freeway at Temecula Parkway. You see all of the units here in pursuit, still very active in pursuit behind this guy. But we've come to a
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
We are going to be U-turning back to base. We, of course, are going to have an update for you on this pursuit on our later newscast. We have a newscast coming up.
Chat, GG. Chat, that's GG.
So we hope to be able to have an update for you then. And, of course, always on NBCLA.com and all of our streaming platforms.
Yep, that's it. That's GG, look.
Once again,
they went back in.
Report. I'm Eliana Moreno alongside my pilot, Sarah Garbetian. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.
That's their airship right here, right? Chat. They use the plane airship, correct? No? Which one is it then? Whatever. That's pretty crazy though. Oh, hold on. Oh, hold on. Dude! Stop turning around. They might be circling. They might be stopped. If he circles, it means that they stopped. Dude! There is no shot they leave and automatically they pull them over. Chat, we have no content.
You guys play safe. No problem.
No, I think I have it correctly. I think this is the shit that's chasing. Otherwise, it's this one. But I don't think they get U-turn on the highway. See, this is another chat. I think this one is just going to refuel or something like that. There's no way this guy could not have U-turned. There's no shot. I think it's this one. I don't even know anymore, to be honest with you. GG. Well, I guess I will know later. Fuck! I was invested into this shit, man! Fuck!
And you see immediately that there's a large window up there with the 4 Draco shields protecting the bubbles from the Draco pulses. If you look at
of having the cupola on Dragon makes it such that Dragon is the experience. Even when we fly our short duration missions to the ISS feels like the destination.
When is it gonna launch? When is this gonna launch?
And the experience, whereas having the cupola on Dragon really makes Dragon and being inside the cupola.
17 minutes. Alright, I'll be back to it. Chat, Crowder loses lawsuit to Billy Mitchell. Chat, who is this?